It might not be totally true that tonight is a must-win, but it's not that far from the truth either, as the push to the PDL playoffs begin now, as the Lakeland Tropics host FC Miami City in a Southeast Division showdown on soccer night in Florida. Good evening, fans, and welcome live to Bryant Stadium here in Lakeland, Florida. A warm and muggy evening, and the biggest game of the year for the Lakeland Tropics, the expansion Lakeland Tropics. And you go back to May 11th when these two teams opened the regular season down in Miami, and I don't think very many people, including maybe a few players on the Lakeland roster themselves, thought that they would be in this position tonight. That May 11th start for the Tropics was inauspicious at best. It was a 4-0 win for Miami City. There were a lot of reasons for that, and we will talk about that during the broadcast this evening. But certainly one of the factors is Lakeland just hadn't trained very much together. FC Miami City had been in training literally for several months as a unit. Lakeland, several days, was really closer to the reality. So the champions, the FC City Miami champions, won it by a 4-0 score. However, since then, the Tropics have not lost. They come into the game tonight 6 wins, 1 defeat, that May 11th loss in Miami, and 1 tie, good for 3rd place in the PDL Southeast Division. FC Miami has continued to play well since that May 11th win. However, they are 7-1-0, 2nd place in the division with 21 points. They both trail the SEMA Aguilas, who are the only team in the Southeast without a loss so far here in 2017. The Aguilas at 8-0-1 with 25 points. So really how it's shaping up is we're about 2/3 of the way through the regular PDL season. How it's shaping up is a 3-team race for what will be 2 playoff spots in the Southeast Division. SEMA, as we said, on top with 25 points. Miami in 2nd with 21 points. Lakeland in 3rd with 19. So the Tropics, if they can win here tonight, would move into sole possession of 2nd place, and that would be an enormous accomplishment. FC Miami City, very good. They played in the U.S. Open Cup earlier this year and, in fact, won their first round game, advancing to the 2nd round of the U.S. Open Cup. To give you an idea of just how good a side they are, it will not be easy tonight here for Lakeland. It may be a showdown, but do not expect a shootout. This FC Miami defense, the stingiest in the Southeast, in those 8 games so far, they have given up a grand total of 4, count them, 4 goals. Offensively, they're no slouches either. They have 28 on the season, and that is 2nd in the division behind the Villages and the Buffaloes, 31 goals. So a very tough task here tonight for the Lakeland Tropics, one they think they are up to. They played Wednesday, of course, down in South Florida against the South Florida Surf, another very good team in the PDL that is struggling a bit here early in the season. But the Tropics, even though they pretty much dominated play in the second half, or certainly had more of the better scoring opportunities than South Florida, they came out of there with a 1-1 tie thanks to Captain Ricardo Dieguez scoring his 9th goal of the year. And if the Tropics are going to come out of here with a win tonight, it will have to be that forward unit of Ricardo Dieguez, Victor Rojas, and Victor Pereras, who have been so good since that loss in Miami on May 11th to come through once again. In fact, Dieguez has a goal in every single game since that loss in Miami. Twice he's had 2 goals, and he is 2nd in the PDL overall with his 9 goals this season. So certainly Ricardo Dieguez a key tonight for the Lakeland Tropics. Dieguez almost won that game down in South Florida Wednesday. He had a header that was right on the goal line and just cleared off the line before it trickled into the net. Otherwise, Lakeland might have come home with a 2-1 win. So the Tropics did not do much Thursday, really rested, recovered, and yesterday was just kind of a walkthrough practice. They worked on some set pieces and those kinds of things. Nothing real strenuous as they recovered from that road trip. And Miami has the benefit of coming in with a full week of rest here tonight, although, of course, they did have to make the long road trip. So we'll see how those two things may factor as we go through this evening. And as I mentioned, probably the warmest night we have had here in Lakeland for soccer night in Florida in 2017. We do have some fairly heavy weather to our south, so we will keep an eye on that as well. Knock on wood, and we've got plenty of that here in the Bryant Stadium press box. We have not had any major weather delays. We had one game that was delayed a little bit by lightning, but we've never actually had much heavy rain. We've had a little bit of rain in the second half of a couple of games, but really nothing heavy, and the latest radar scan is showing that perhaps we'll escape that heavy weather to the south. Special hello to our fans down in the greater Miami area tonight. We're happy to have you along for this telecast. We're expecting a terrific ball game between two very good teams, and as we said, FC Miami City, no surprise that they are as good as they are after that win in Tropical Park Stadium, where they call home on May 11th. They won two more. Their only loss came in their fourth game of the regular season, and that was a home loss to SEMA at 2-1, the final score in that one, and certainly no shame to lose to the Aguilas. But since that loss on May 20th, they have been unbeaten in their last four games and have pretty well dominated all four of them. In fact, have not given up a goal in any of those four. The latest win, a 5-0 win against Weston at home last Saturday. That is the second win they have over Weston this year. They won in Weston 5-1 earlier in the year. And for comparison's sake, and that isn't always the best way to try and determine who may have an advantage here tonight, but for comparison's sake, you may recall a couple of Saturdays ago here at Bryant Stadium, Weston was in town and Lakeland scored 4 goals in the first half and put it on cruise control for the second half in winning 4-0. Another common opponent, the Palm Beach Suns. The champions played back-to-back against the Suns June 10th and June 14th, both times recording wins of 4-0. Palm Beach here in Lakeland a few weeks ago falling to the Tropics 2-0. So those are some of the common opponents that these two teams have played in the last few weeks, and statistically that shows things to be pretty equal, and we expect a fairly tight, close, well-played game tonight. Could very well be the kind of game that ends up at 1-0 or maybe 2-1. I don't think we'll see any kind of a huge offensive explosion. Jonathan Valerio for the Tropics has been stellar in goal. He has 2 shutouts to his credit as well in recent action, and you look at his stats in the 72-team PDL, he is 5th in the league in save percentage among goaltenders who have played at least 500 minutes this season, and goaltending very much a strong suit, obviously, for Miami, giving up just the 4 goals this year. Eric Edge will draw his 3rd start of the season, and he has 2 shutouts so far in his 2 starts. He is a player from Great Britain, and we'll talk more about the European connection that FC Miami City certainly enjoys and is one of the reasons that they are able to field such a competitive team year in and year out in the PDL. They are traditionally one of the teams to beat, and 2017 is proving to be no different. They were the PDL runner-up in 2015, and they finished 3rd in the Southeast Division that season and had 3 players sign. Actually, that after the 2015 season, had 5 players sign professional contracts. So they are certainly true to the PDL path to the pro mantra, and they bring a lot of talented players with them from Miami. The Tropics being introduced. No real changes for the Tropics. They are relatively healthy still, which is good news. Pedro Ivo Diaz, the midfielder who has just steadily gotten better and better as the season goes on, has gone on rather, is in the lineup tonight. He was taken out of the game with an injury last week, and we had a little bit of concern perhaps that he might not play. That was a loss, or a win rather, last Saturday up at the Villages SC. That was probably Lakeland's finest win of the season. The Village is a very good team. They are 500 this year after a very difficult start. But that being on the road and against a good team at home, a 3-1 win for the Tropics, they really controlled things in the second half. We'll step aside right now for our national anthem. Lovely rendition of our national anthem here tonight at Bryant Stadium. Good crowd on hand, hoping that the Tropics can come home with 7th win of the season and sole possession of second place in the division. And that is something that, as we said maybe a month and a half ago, seemed to be a far-fetched proposition, but the guys in orange, the good guys tonight, have turned it around. Unbeaten now in 7 straight after that loss. They still have the longest, second longest winning streak now in the division with a 5-game winning streak, and then 6 in a row, or rather 7 in a row unbeaten. 6-game winning streak and 7 games in a row unbeaten with that tie Wednesday night in South Florida. So captains will meet out at the center circle. Fairly busy night in the PDL Southeast Division, as is the norm on a Saturday. Couple of pretty good matchups, especially one up in the Villages tonight. The South Florida Surf up there against the Buffalo, and the Palm Beach Suns on the road over in Bradenton against IMG Academy. So keep an eye on those out-of-town games as well. And don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, certainly, but next Saturday, an equally large showdown game here at Bryant Stadium when the SEMA Aguilas will visit. We'll see how the Tropics come out in the first 5 or 10 minutes here. They would like to get a fast start. It's been kind of an unusual thing for the Tropics. They seem to kind of go up and down a little bit during the first 45 minutes of most of their games, and then really come out in the second half and dominate for the first 20 or 30 minutes. In fact, I was talking to Owen Conlon, the Tropics coach, about that after the Villages games. Very similar last week. The Tropics did actually score the first goal in the 8-minute mark last week against the Villages. Diegas Juan Tejada getting the goal on an assist from Diegas. And after that, it really kind of went flat for Lakeland over the final 35 minutes or so of the first half. And then again, they came out in the second half, rip-roaring, got 2 goals, and cruised to a 3-1 win. And I actually thought it's happened so often that it might actually be a strategy to at least an extent that the Tropics were employing. And he said, no, not at all. That was not the goal. They would like to get much faster starts than they have been getting, and they did not really get off to a great start down in South Florida on Wednesday, or actually over in Stuart, Florida, where the South Florida Surf play their home games. So they would really like to come out and press the issue and perhaps get get a quick one here tonight and then keep the pressure on, something they didn't do against the Villages after getting a quick one last Saturday. But we'll see how it all plays out. Certainly you don't want to get too offensive and too excited and make a mistake that will perhaps lead to a good scoring chance for Miami City, because as good as they are defensively, they can also put it in the back of the net as well as anyone in the league. Miami will move from left to right. Ramsey Torrey will pick up the loose ball, being challenged in there by Abdi Abdallah, number 14 for Miami. Weichers plays it across the top of the box to Torrey and right back to Weichers. Gets it up to Auburndale's Chase Hovius. Hovius tried to feed it through to Tejada, and he's taken down heavily. Whistle and a foul on Kevin Wharton. And he will get a talking to from the official as well. No yellow card, but certainly the official making it known that that might have been a little toasty on the challenge. Long ball into the Tropic zone. Weicher's going to get there first, and he will get it out of play. That was Hamza Murshid, number 19, that was trying to get in there to get the chance behind Weichers. Luka, a very steady stay-at-home defender. Been one of the reasons that since that 4-0 loss in Miami, the Tropics really have played very good defensive soccer for most of the rest of the year. Here's some space and a chance now for Lakeland on the counter. Ball on the right side to Rojas, and Rojas can't corral it. Not sure what happened there exactly, but Rojas unable to keep possession. They did put new turf down here at Bryant Stadium this past week. Fresh paint, new turf, getting ready for the Lakeland Dreadnoughts football season, which is a little more than a month away, believe it or not. At least the start of practice a little more than a month away. School starts, I think, August 10th here in Polk County. Here's Diegas in front. So there'll be football by the middle of August with the kickoff classics. Of course, the Dreadnoughts, one of the premier high school programs year in and year out in the state of Florida. Good intercept by Hovius. Gets it to Rojas now. Rojas has it taken away. Here's the counter chance now for FC Miami City. Colino with it. Tries to find Mohamed Kuruma. Can't come up with it, and Rojas has it. Knocked out of there by Akhmatov, number 8. Whistle and a foul against the Tropics. I think that'll be Tejada whistle. Akhmatov will do the restart here. Gets it down in the box, and the flag is up offsides against Murchid. Small, speedy attacker. 3.5 minutes in. No real big chances either way. And the chances may be fairly far and few between tonight, as tight as these two teams play it defensively at times. Of course, sometimes it's like baseball. You expect a pitcher's duel, and it ends up 10-9. So no guarantee tonight that that'll be the case. But goals probably will be at a premium. Throw-in coming up for Lakeland on the far side. A couple of darker clouds hovering overhead, but still lots of sunshine. And good news is no rumbles of thunder. That is really the thing that will cause a delay. Lightning, they'll play in some rain. And obviously, this being a turf field, it drains very well. Ball will be played all the way back to Weichers as the Tropics will reset the offense. Ball was too long for Rojas. This is Kevin Wharton with it for Miami. being challenged by Rojas. Gets it to Colino. Plays it up for Kuruma, and it's knocked over the sideline. Throw in here for Miami. That one will go out of play into the west sidelines here. A lot of folks in the west sidelines tonight taking advantage of the shady side of the field, but another nice crowd at Bryant Stadium for this big matchup. Little extracurricular there between Tejada and one of the Miami players. That would have been Rasenbek Akhmatov, number 8. Referee stepped in for a quick word. Got the Swan City Syndicate in full voice behind the Miami goal tonight. They are ready to set off the celebration smoke bombs whenever the Tropics may get a goal. Here's a nice through ball, and Valerio will come out and take it away. Best early chance of the game so far as Kuruma snuck in there. Kevin Kvapik, number 6, is actually the Champions' leading goal scorer. He has 5 on the season. And another Miami player to watch is number 21, Jonathan Parpex. He has 8 assists. Played back into the box. Valerio going to have to come out and clear it. He does. And then it's knocked right back into the box by Kuruma, and Valerio will cover, and we've got an injured Miami player on the team. Parapex, as we said, with 8 assists. That is certainly among the league leaders. Dangerous chance there for Kuruma as he got behind the Lakeland defense, but Valerio had it pretty well read. When these two teams played down in Miami back in early May, as we said, it was just a 1-0 game at the half, and actually it was a 1-0 game well into the second half. In the 76th minute, Miami with a turnover in their own end, and Victor Rojas actually had a really, really good scoring opportunity. Took a shot from about 15 yards out and just missed on the short side. Had he actually been able to convert that and make it a 1-1 game with 15 minutes to go, who knows how those final few minutes might have played out. At the very least, unlikely it would have been such a lopsided final at 4-0. In fact, one of the last 3 goals that Miami scored came in stoppage time. So the Tropics hoping certainly for a different outcome tonight. In fact, the offensive hero of that game, here's the long ball now as Rojas gets it into the box and Edge comes out to cover up. Joel Ouedraogo had 2 goals in that game, but he is not making the trip tonight, so a little bit of good news certainly for Lakeland. Here's a nice little give and go, and that puts Kuruma on the attack. Ahead now to Murchid. Back to Kuruma. Kuruma at the top of the box, but coming back to help out defensively is Rodriguez, and he is able to clear the zone. Can see that FC Miami's got good speed, something that can be a great equalizer in the outdoor game. Diega's trying to sneak behind the defense. Edge, there's a shot, and it's going to go wide. Edge couldn't quite control it, and Diega's tried to make the volley from about the 35-yard line and just missed it. Well, an unusual chance early, but Diega's just not quite able to get squared up enough to the goal to keep it on target. And I'm sure this new turf probably fairly spongy, and if you're not used to playing on AstroTurf, it's I'm sure going to take some adjustment for Edge and the champion players to get used to that. And Edge learned a valuable lesson right there and didn't end up having to pay the price. Here's a chance in the box, blocked in there by Weichers. And Tejada will have it now. Tejada tried to get it upfield to Diegas, but didn't strike it well. That was Parapex, number 21. He and Tejada battling on the far side. Cleared down towards Murchid. There's a shove in the box. Ball in front, but knocked away and taken away by the Tropics. Rodriguez. He has it taken away. Miami with some good possession here in the Lakeland zone, and they'll get a throw in on the far sideline. No score heading to the 12th minute here at Bryant Stadium. Starting to get a pretty good wind here, and still some dark clouds to our south where the heavy weather was a little earlier. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that we get uninterrupted play here. Honestly, for summertime in Central Florida, the Tropics have only had really one weather issue, and that was that game a couple of Wednesdays ago in Tampa Bay against the Rowdies that was rained out. Long ball through to Murchid, and he is whistled for the foul. Now, as of the moment, that game has not yet officially been rescheduled, and whether or not it gets played is TBD, as they say, to be determined. May very well not get replayed or rescheduled if it does not impact the playoff race. Tejada still trying to fight through, gets it to Diegas on the left side to Rojas. Good step up there by Wharton to stop that counterattack. Does look like a little rain to the south, so we'll still have sun here. But as we said, we'll just keep our fingers crossed. Breeze actually feels pretty good. Here's a long ball down the left sideline. Ramsey Torrey with a little push, no foul called. But Miami will keep possession. Good work by the champions. Here's Murchid. Murchid, top of the box, being watched by Rojas. And Lakeland will clear it out towards the midfield circle. Tejada with the challenge. Hervé Bato gets it over on the left side now to Polino. Polino challenged by Rojas, and there's a push and a foul. Victor not quite believing the call, but had a smile on his face nonetheless. The referee says, hey, got you on the push. Polino will put it in play for FC Miami City. Now it's Parapex. They will actually send it in. Right through to Valero, and he makes the stop. And a player making a pretty good run through the box there. That was Quafic, number 6. You can see the wind really affect that high ball. We have got a very stiff breeze that has suddenly popped up here. Intercepted, and now Pereiras with it. Pereiras looking for a little space and couldn't get it to Tejada, just a half second late pulling the trigger, and Tejada was really open in the middle of the field there. Pereiras will challenge. Bato with it. Over the sideline, throw in Lakeland. Ricardo Villegas with Lakeland's best opportunity from about 35 yards out when Eric Edge came off his line and misplayed a ball, and Villegas spun and fired the long ball and just missed, making it a 1-0 game. But a pretty good start here for Lakeland. They wanted to come out with a little more energy and a little more focus than they've seen in some games earlier this year, and I think that has at least been mission accomplished. But no doubt that this FC Miami City is the best team we've seen here at Bryant Stadium so far in 2017. Counter chance maybe for Lakeland. Here's Tejada. Tejada tries to get it through to Rojas, but that was well anticipated and well defended. Colino stepped right into the passing lane and took it away with no trouble. Here's Rodriguez, tries to play the long ball to Diegas, and again intercepted on the defense by Quafic. Ball through the box again, takes a high bounce, and the whistle and a foul on Miami. That is Kuruma that is getting the yellow card. Not happy about it. And we will have some medical attention on the field. Believe that may be Victor Rojas that is down. That is not a player that the Tropics would like to think about having to replace this early. But we saw again another high bounce right at the top of the box that almost created a scoring opportunity, and that is something that literally both sides will have to get used to here tonight with this new turf just installed this week here in Lakeland. The stadium is actually owned by the city, although they are in discussions with the Polk County School District, who may be interested in purchasing it. And if not the school board, then Florida Southern University, which is located here in Lakeland and has a very robust Division II sports program, has interest as well. So this stadium, which dates back to the 1940s, will continue to have a lot of good life, and the Tropics have enjoyed calling it home here in 2017. These two teams part of the Southeast Division and the Southern Conference. There are 8 divisions in the PDL, 4 conferences. The Mid-South and the Southeast make up the Southern Conference, and the PDL does what they call their power rankings every week. And this week, the Lakeland Tropics are number 4 in the Southern Conference. That's where they were a couple of weeks ago. The only undefeated team in the entire 72-team PDL, the OKC Energy under 23 side. They are 9-0. They are number 1 in the conference power rankings. Number 2 is SEMA, the Aguilas. Number 3 is FC Miami City, and number 4 is Lakeland. So kind of indicative of really why it's just a 3-team race for those 2 playoff spots in the South. And there was a bolt of lightning not far away, and we'll see if that may be an issue. Had a pretty good look at it from the 3rd level of the press box here. First lightning that we've seen. Weicher's with it. Rodriguez steps up but couldn't challenge. And now here come the champions back on the counter. Through ball to Kuruma, and a shot hit the crossbar. Goodness gracious. Great break for the Tropics right there, as Kuruma got in behind the Lakeland defense. So both goaltenders have had a bit of a miscue each way here early on, and good scoring chances both ways have just missed. This time Valerio will handle it with no trouble. Here's Ivo Diaz. Good to see him back on the pitch after looked like he could have suffered a fairly serious injury up in the Villages in that win last Saturday. Dieguez chases it down, gets it to Rodriguez. He's challenged in there by Maribet. Headed back by Akhmatov. Pereira's with a challenge on the far sideline. Kusti Rodriguez can't control it. Taken away by Abdallah. To Bato. He's got some room to operate in the center circle. Sends it left side to Colino. Colino. Long ball in towards Valerio, and an easy cover that time for Jonathan. And we've got one rain cell just off to our south and east that is menacing at the moment. Ramsey Torrey with the clear to Rodriguez. Rojas back out there, good to see. Pass is intercepted. Here's Colino on the counter, but he can't catch up to it. So it'll be a throw in for Lakeland here. So we head to the 24th minute. Almost, not quite, well, just about halfway through now. And really the best scoring opportunities have been misplays by the 2 goaltenders, which, as good as they are, both a bit of a surprise. Well, if the rain stays away, the wind is actually kind of refreshing. FC Miami City organizing at the midfield circle, and pass is intercepted by Chase Hovias. He can't control, taken away by Colino, and then Kuruma gets it back to Kevin Wharton. Over to Kevin Kwapik, 5 goals on the season. Rodriguez checked that was Pereira's with the pressure, and it's knocked over the sideline. Throw in for Miami. Tropics will be off this next week. Their next game next Saturday here at home against SEMA, the Aguilas. A 7:35 kickoff. Another very, very big game in the Tropics push to the PDL playoffs. Starting to see some umbrellas pop up and some raindrops starting to fall now. But we are playing on for the moment. Sun to the west still very much shining in parts of Bryant Stadium, but the rain very much in evident as well. Here's Bato with it in the corner. Cross in front, knocked out of there, still loose, and Valerio goes high and pulls it out of the air and out of danger. Good play by Jonathan Valerio to make sure that Miami did not get any better of an opportunity than they already had. Still scoreless, now heading towards our 26th minute in the first half. Parapex with it on the far side. All the way on the near side of the field now to Wharton with some space. Over the midfield line to Colina, who will take a look in the middle of the field. Here's a little give and go. Nice opportunity for Karuma. Takedown right at the top of the box, but no whistle. Good challenge in there by the Tropics. That was Kawi Salgado making the play. He's got it right now. Gives it up quickly to Tejada. Definitely rain on the way here. Let's hope it's just rain. In fact, it's really starting to come down in earnest now. Over the end line, and be a goal kick for Jonathan Valerio. He has basically played every minute of every game for the Tropics. Jorge Navarrete, his backup, has gotten into a couple of games late, but it has been Valerio's show from start to finish as things really begin to open up here over Bryant Stadium. We did have a little bit of lightning maybe 10 or 15 minutes ago, apparently not quite close enough at that time to the stadium to halt play. They will play obviously here in the rain, and as we said, being on turf, the field conditions really shouldn't become a big problem. Ball back to Wharton now. And we've even got a rainbow over the stadium, so maybe the Tropics can parlay that into a little pot of gold tonight. Yeah, the wind it's been noticeable, especially on some of the kicks that Valerio has tried to make on the goal kicks, and some of the balls that have bounced high off the turf are really being affected by the wind. And you can see right there, Valerio didn't get it more than 3 or 4 feet off the ground, and that was intentional. Karuma with it. Tejada with the challenge. Akhmatov keeps possession for Miami. Tejada with a challenge and a takedown and a whistle. And a yellow card to boot. So that is the second yellow card tonight, one each way. Tejada definitely got a lot of the ball, but also got a lot of Abdallah. So free kick coming up now for Miami. And with this wind, just about anything could happen with it. It'll be Parapex to drive it into the box here. And it's on its way. And punched out of there by Valerio, who not only has to worry about the wind, but now has to worry about a wet ball as well. So kind of double jeopardy, if you will. Here's Pereira, and can't quite keep the counterattack alive here. Whistle and a foul. "30 minutes in now, still scoreless. Ricardo Diegues with the best opportunity for Lakeland, and it really was not a traditional chance at all. Came from distance after Eric Edge misplayed a ball out at about the 25 or 30 yard line, and Diegues had an open goal and fired from about 35 yards and just missed. Here's Akhmatov, long ball into the box. Ramsey Torrey will clear it out. But again, you can see the wind just grabbing it and really not allowing much distance on the clear. Here's a long shot, and with these weather conditions, that's not a bad idea at all, frankly. You're going to see a lot of potential misplays by the goalkeepers, at least potentially, you would think. Throw in coming up for Lakeland right near the midfield stripe. Chase Ovius has it. As you can tell, the weather conditions going from bad to worse here. Still have our rainbow though, so that's kind of nice. Edge this time is able to control it as Pereiras thought about coming in for a challenge. Yeah, you can see this weather moving in for quite some time. Here's the ball, right side of the box, drive in front, and a good cover by Valerio. And that's good strategy by Miami. And Lakeland, if they get some chances down in the box, may want to adopt something similar where they just try and get it on goal and perhaps get a rebound or a misplay by the goalkeeper, because the weather conditions certainly would dictate that as being a distinct possibility here. Apologize for the wind noise. Not much we can really do about it. And are we going to get our weather delay now? Yep. We are in fact getting a weather delay. So we are going to have a 30-minute break here. Testing, testing, one. As the lightning has cleared the area, the rain has not, but we are back underway here at Bryant Stadium in Lakeland, Florida. Soccer night in Florida on i1tv.net. Glad to have you along, and we may have a few more viewers than we might have since most of the crowd of 2,150 that started this game on a very balmy and warm Florida evening decided to head for home after a lengthy rain delay here of about an hour, a little more than an hour as a matter of fact. So just a few hardy souls remaining, but we're glad to have you along on i1tv.net as the Florida Tropics and FC Miami City resume play here in the first half with the clock now ticking towards the 33rd minute as these two clubs have battled to a scoreless draw before the bad weather hit. Really only two good scoring opportunities, more than two, but really two bona fide scoring opportunities, and both really were kind of misplays by the goaltender. Ricardo Diegues having a good opportunity from distance when Eric Edge left his line to try and go after a loose ball outside the box and took a big bounce over Edge, and Diegues fired and just missed the open net. And then FC Miami City had a crossbar as Jonathan Valerio had a little bit of an issue with a ball in the box as well. So two good chances really both ways. Miami, generally speaking, controlling the tempo and the pace. They have played with a lot of quickness and a lot of speed that Lakeland is not used to really seeing this year. So we'll see if they're able to counter that. Here's a misplay again by Edges. Pereira will try and track it down. Pereira, let's see if he's going to get a chance to take a cross. He does in front, and Tejada can't get there. Here's Rojas with it. Rojas, here's a feed shot in front, and that's blocked as Rodriguez teed it up from about 15 feet. Great opportunity on the turnover for Lakeland, and just could not get the shot through. Rodriguez takes the throw in on the far sideline. Pereira, he's taken down, no whistle. Good challenge and tackle there. Now Tejada with a steal. Tejada deep in the corner, looking for some space, can't control it, and it's cleared over the sideline. Throw in here for Lakeland. So the Tropics with their best chance of the night here right after we get back from the weather delay. Here's Pedro Ivo Diaz, and he has his pocket pick. Counter-attack opportunity for Miami. Left side, this is Kuruma, number 10 with it, tries to feed it through to Murchid, making a run. Abdallah with some pressure for Miami. Pereira will control for Lakeland on the far sideline, however. Sliding hard tackle, and there's a whistle and foul and a yellow card. Second one tonight against Miami. Small but enthusiastic gathering remaining here at Bryant Stadium. We started out with over 2,100, and we might have a few hundred hardy souls that decided to wait out the weather, and hats off to them, certainly.
FC Miami City, Rasandek Akhmatov. Tarjeta amarilla para el número 8, Rasandek Akhmatov.
So free kick coming up here for the Tropics. Ramsey Torrey, the defender, with it, gets it to Salgado. Cowie Salgado drives it down the left wing, but Pereira was not there, so Miami will get possession. Always interesting to see how a delay and a lengthy delay at that will affect the two sides. As we said, Miami had, generally speaking, the better of the play before the break, but by far the best opportunity here in just the first few minutes of the resumed first half has belonged to Lakeland. This is John Colino with it on the near sideline. Chase Hovius with a takeaway for the Tropics. Hovius, number 30. So we mentioned before the weather delay, played his high school soccer, a part of it at Auburndale. We do have one Miami sub into the game right there, number 3. He was taken down and fouled by Hovius. That is Zach Murzuk. So Murzuk into the game. With it on the near side, tries to find Murchid, and it goes to Valeria, who will clear the wind, which was whipping so wildly with the approach of the bad weather, has completely died down. We have no wind at all. Whistle and foul against the Tropics. Just a very light misting kind of rain falling now. No issues with the field since we play on an artificial surface here, which has recently been installed. Jonathan Parapex with his 8 assists will send it in here for Miami. There's the long ball into the box and headed out of there nicely by the Tropics. Abdullah tried the volley from about 30 yards out and mishit it. About 7 minutes until we hit stoppage time. Still scoreless here in the first half. Can tell you elsewhere in the PDL tonight, the Villages with a very big win, literally and figuratively, over the South Florida Surf up in Lady Lake tonight. 5-1 the final. They had a weather delay there as well, but not as lengthy as ours, and the Villages getting several goals in the last 10 or 15 minutes of that game. It was a 2-1 game about 15 minutes into the second half when the weather hit, and then the Buffalo really opened it up late to walk away with a 5-1 win. Kind of puts in perspective how good a win the 3-1 decision Lakeland took up there last week really was. Murzuk trying to track down the loose ball. He and Hovius collide, and Murzuk will be called for the foul. Luka Weichers with a restart. Special hello to the folks down in Miami listening in and watching in tonight. We appreciate them being on board, cheering on their FC Miami Tropic side from afar. These two teams opened the regular season back on May 11th, first game for both these clubs. Miami with a 4-0 win in that one. Was really not a very representative game in terms of who the Tropics are or became, because after losing that game, they haven't lost since. They have won 6 in a row and then had a tie Wednesday down against the South Florida Surf. So really the issue for the Tropics May 11th game, perhaps a bit of a conditioning, but it went hand in hand with the fact that they really had not been able to train together as a full team for not more than maybe a week or 10 days before that opener. Valeria going to come well off his line here, and he will clear it. With this new turf, we've mentioned it a few times, the ball seems a bit bouncier than we have recalled here at Bryant Stadium. And that has been an issue both ways. Of course, the Tropics do not train on this field. They only play their home games here. Hovius takes a pretty good shot to the head there. Colino was trying to send it into the box, and unfortunately for Chase, the only thing in the way was his face, and he is going to get a little bit of medical attention from the Bond Clinic staff here. Don't know if Chase has any of his family or friends that remained. I'm sure he had quite a few in the crowd to start. As we mentioned, playing in nearby Auburndale for really what only amounted to half of the season, his senior season, before he left
to take a minute to thank all of our corporate and restaurant partners. Bond Clinic PA,
to pursue his college in Liberty University.
Citizen Bank and Trust, Silk Grove, Lakeland.
And he left his mark though on the Bloodhounds program with 25 goals and 20 assists his senior season.
Intense Inc., Fast Signs Tampa, Square One.
So Hovius will head to the sidelines. And it will be a throw in here for Miami. Through ball and just missed in there. That was Kuruma who was looking for the ball on the far post. Heading towards the 45th minute. So we'll get probably, I guess, 4 or 5 minutes of stoppage time. Pedro Ivo Diaz knocks it over the sideline for Lakeland, so throw in here for Miami. This is Colino on the near sideline being watched. By Jonathan Jimenez, who is into the game now for Lakeland. So Jimenez a sub during the rain delay for Victor Rojas, who had a bit of a leg injury early on in the game and probably stiffened up during that lengthy weather delay. Foul against Miami, so direct kick here for the Tropics. See if they can get something down towards the Miami goal here. Diegas will get down there along with Tejada, and here comes 6'5" Ramsey Torrey to join the attack.
There's 1 more minute of gameplay.
There's the long ball. Headed out of there. Diegas trying to track it down. Tejada looks for it, can't come up with it, and Miami was able to clear the zone. Hovius will track it all the way back and knock it to his goaltender Valerio. Jonathan Valerio got to be careful. A little dribbler there on the turf, and don't want to make a mistake. Here's Miami with a counter now. Akhmatov, number 8, with it. Champions still with possession and finally get it to the near side to Colino. Colino has some space. There's a shot knocked out of there by Valerio. Good save. The rebound right near the top of the box. Chipped. And Valerio able to get a piece of it, and finally Tejada clears the zone. Diegas comes back to try and pick up the loose ball. Can't. Now Jimenez clears the zone, and that's going to be it for the first half. So not as much stoppage time as we thought. And the teams, I think, are going to take a regulation 15-minute intermission now here at half, even though they just came out from the weather delay, and that looks like exactly what's going to happen. So we'll double check and make sure, but the Tropics are heading to the locker room, so we're going to step aside for halftime as well. And as we do, we'll remind you that you're watching Soccer Night in Florida on ITV.net, scoreless between the Lakeland Tropics and the FC Miami City Champions. We'll see you in about 15 minutes for the second half. Salgado with a header, but Miami will control. We are back underway a little bit more quickly than we had anticipated. But that's good news because we don't want this to turn into soccer morning in Florida. But don't think we'll have any danger of that. The weather has cleared the area, and we're good to go here. Final 45 minutes. We'll see if one of these two teams can break through. We expected a tight, close battle, and that's exactly what we have gotten here tonight. Lakeland's best opportunity came very quickly after the weather delay ended, and couple of shots, one that just did not quite get through. Otherwise, the Tropics may have taken a 1-0 lead. The Tropics, though, their best time of the game, at least so far this year, pretty consistently, has been early in the second half for the first 20 or 30 minutes when they've come out full bore and really dominated some opponents. Here's, Diegues almost with a chance to counter. Now Diegues tries to get to a loose ball, and Parapek makes good defensive play.
To see the full menu, go to jetspizza.com or call 863-709-0999.
Here's a long drive, and Valerio makes a good save as he dives to his left to corral the shot taken by Abdullah. Best chance that Miami has had in a bit. Pereira's tracks down the loose ball for Florida now. Long ball through. Here's Jimenez. Jimenez is knocked off the ball, though, at the last second, but good defensive work by John Colino. As Jimenez into the game for Victor Rojas here is able to almost shake free for a good scoring chance. Here's a ball now, chance for the Tropics. Shot off the crossbar. Rebound by Pereiras, and it goes just wide. Victor Pereiras with a tremendous opportunity, and he kisses it off the woodwork. Inches away from the Tropics taking a 1-0 lead. Second crossbar tonight. Miami hit one in the first 45. Pereira still can't quite believe that he didn't bury that one. Great look from about 15 yards out, and he got it by Eric Edge, only to see it squarely hit the crossbar. Bad break for the Tropics. But as we mentioned, this is their time of the game, or it has been most of the season. Tejada intercepts. Pereiras tries to feed Diegues ahead of the field, and it never got through. Parapex with the intercept. Should correct myself, that was Quafic on the intercept as Diegues was trying to find space downfield. Ball deep into the corner and over the end line, so goal kick coming up here for Jonathan Valerio. 5 minutes into the second half, and we're still scoreless. Two crossbars. 1-1 in crossbars, but that does not count. Tropics trying to gain control out at midfield. Gusti Rodriguez corrals it. Nice little ball to Pereiras. Tries to feed it through to Jimenez. Jimenez trying to track it down. He will get to it. He's got Rodriguez trailing. Now he gets it to Rodriguez, and Rodriguez tries to pull the trigger from a sharp angle and can't do it. Knocked back towards goal. Rodriguez still battling in there. And finally Miami able to clear the zone. But the Tropics certainly generating a lot more pressure than they did for much of the first half here to start the second. Pedro Ivo Diaz with the kick to keep possession for the Tropics. Feeds it ahead for Diegues. Tries to get it over to Pereiras. Intercepted there and then taken right back by Rodriguez, who's taken down, and no whistle. Steal for Miami as Salgado can't get it. Salgado still on the chase. Murchid with it. Murchid circles and still has possession. Gets by Tejada. Here's a chance now for Miami. And taken off the ball. And a good defensive play by Weichers. Here comes a ball through to Diegues. Diegues is offsides. Flag was up. And a scoring opportunity denied as Diegues was just a step or so behind the Miami defense there.
Make sure to stop by the Tropics merchandise stand to pick up exclusive Hummer Tropics replica jerseys, t-shirts, and more.
Little tete-a-tete on the sideline here between Rodriguez and Perpiex. Victor Rojas going to go in and check on things. Was collision on the lower leg there, looked like, and there was no yellow card, just a whistle and a foul. So Ricardo Diegues will also check things out for a moment, but cooler heads apparently will prevail here. Both sides know the implications here tonight. Miami in second place with 21 points in the division. Lakeland in third place, 19 points in the division, so a Lakeland win would mean sole possession of second place for the Tropics, who have not lost since the season opening defeat in Miami on May 11th. 4-0 to the champions, but a 1-0 game deep into the second half, and Victor Rojas, who is out now tonight after starting the game and then getting injured in the first half. Rojas had a great opportunity at the 76th minute of that game and just missed on the 15-yard volley, and had he buried that one and made it a 1-1 game, who knows how the final 15 minutes would have turned out. As it was, Lakeland pressed the attack and ended up giving up some late goals that made it a more lopsided score. Here's a through ball taken away now by Salgado. We apologize. We know you're having some audio issues tonight because of the inclement weather, and we are working to correct that, but may not improve itself a great deal because of the wetness here at Bryant Stadium. Although the good news is the rain, I think, has finally completely let up. Long ball through. Will go all the way to Valerio. Merzouk was apparently onside, but ball was just a couple of strides too far in front of him. Tropics will be off this week. Their next game is another big one. SEMA Aguilas here Saturday, July 1st. The only team in the Southeast without a loss this year. The Aguilas beat FC Miami City back in late May by a 2-1 count, and that is Miami's only loss. These three teams, SEMA, Lakeland, and Miami, kind of separating themselves from the rest of the pack, although the Villages, with their win tonight, has gone above 500 for the first time this year in fourth place. It's a good win for the Villages, no question. Whistle and a foul. Diegues whistled for the push. Heading towards our 56th minute here in the second half. Tropics, as is their MO, have come out with a lot of pressure and several good scoring chances, but have not been able to convert. And Valerio will track this loose ball down with no pressure. Merzouk in there briefly, but not a serious challenge. Here's Ivo Diaz with it. Salgado will pick up the loose ball. Plays it down for Pereira, who can't catch up to it. Parapek with the intercept. Gives it to Abdallah. Back to the midfield circle. And now on the left wing as Miami tries to counter, but Chase Hovius will track it down for Lakeland. Feeds it up to Rodriguez. Rodriguez is held the second time, and finally a whistle. Tropics will get a free kick from just on their half of the midfield line. Well, the referee says move it back a few yards, so okay. Long ball driven down towards Diegas. Has a little trouble with the turf and the hop. Tries to turn and go, but Salgado with a header, but Miami will control. Ivo Diaz can't get it, but Tejada will run it down. Now Hovius steps up, loses it, and here's a counter chance for Miami. Long shot, a goal. Great strike by Mohamed Kuruma. Caught Valerio well off the line, and Kuruma from distance gives the champions a 1-0 lead here in the 59th minute. Well struck volley from a long range, and Valerio was out probably near about the 50, but Miami will control. Ivo Diaz can't get it, but and caught a little. Tejada will run it down. Out of position by the shot. Now Hovius steps up, loses it, and here's a counter chance for Miami. Most of the shot, a goal. Pressure belonging to Lakeland here in the second half. It's FC Miami. Great strike City, by Mohamed, who draws first blood and leads at 1-0. We'll see what the response is for the Tropics here. They certainly have played their best soccer to start the second half, but end up giving up the tough goal from long range. Here's a counter now for Miami after a slip. Again, a long-range shot, and this one is going to go well out of play. Valerio that time was well back in better position to take a look at that shot. Here's some space to room now for Hovius, and he thought Pereira was going to make a run, but Victor was still way back at midfield. No Victor Rojas here for Lakeland in the second half. He did come back from the injury to finish the first half, but I'm sure with the long delay there was a concern over the injury, the leg injury stiffening up and becoming worse, and so Rojas not on the field here for the second half. Christy Rodriguez pleading his case with the official for perhaps something more than just a foul, but that falls on deaf ears, as most of the time it does. If you're just joining us and wondering why we still have some 30 minutes of soccer left, it's because we had a rain delay of more of a lightning delay. It rained heavily as well, but we had some lightning strikes in the area, and so we had a delay of just about over an hour towards the end of that first half. Here's Miami on the counter, and an offside is called. So the two teams came back after the weather delay, finished the final 13 or 14 minutes of the first half, took a 10-minute intermission break, and started the second half about 15 minutes ago. So we'll have a late night finish here in Lakeland. We'll see if the Tropics have something in them to rally the troops after playing very well for the first 10 to 12 minutes of the half and getting a lot of good opportunities.
That's a substitution, number 96.
Miami able to get the first goal of the game. Substitution in for the champions on the right wing now. Check that number for you in just a moment. That is Adam Chahadi, number 96, and he's got it on the right wing, being chased down by Salgado. Gets it in front and cleared out of there. Boy, close opportunity as Kurama, who had the goal, was cruising in front and just missed getting his second. Diegas with it. Diegas, he's taken down hard. Chahadi with the foul, and Diegas not happy, and don't know if he's going to get a yellow card or not. He did not. Chahadi did. And Karpiaks is down as well now. He's got a left ankle injury or left leg. So the official trying to talk to both sides here now and get a little control back. Hamza Murchid and Gusti Rodriguez for the Tropics having that discussion with the officials. Looks like Karpiaks is going to be okay. He's up, hobbling just a touch, but there have been certainly a number of physical challenges. I believe that is Miami's third yellow card of the night. Long ball by Rodriguez, but defended well by the champions. Now Weichers drives it right back into the Miami zone. Pereira's trying to chase it down, but Chahadi will come up with it. Pereira's almost with a steal again, but Chahadi will fall and trickles over the sideline, so Lakeland will get a throw in from fairly deep into the Miami zone here. Salgado will do the honors, and it's knocked away. Tejada trying to track it down, but Akhmatov was able to corral it for Miami and keep possession. Here's a long ball into the Tropics for it. And finally, Weichers is able to reach the loose ball and knock it over the end line, but a corner kick coming up now for Miami. Haven't seen a lot of corners tonight, but you look at the Miami offensive statistics. We've talked a lot about their defense tonight and just how good it is, and it is, no question about it, giving up just 4 goals all season long, but their offensive numbers are just about as impressive, to be honest about it, as you look at the comparison between Miami and their opponents this year. Miami coming into the game tonight is the long cross to the near side is tracked down and kept in play by the champions. Back out to the top of the box. Chahadi feeds it in, headed out of there by Lakeland. Coming into the game tonight, FC Miami City had outshot their opponents 127-23. That is pretty much the definition of soccer domination when you're talking about offensive statistics. And in terms of corners taken this year, it's about a 3-1 advantage for Miami. 42 for the champions, and their opponents have only had 14 all season. So you knew coming in that Miami was a very good side, and they have shown it here tonight, although Lakeland certainly has not been intimidated, especially here in the second half. Ramsey Torrey, the big 6'5 defender from the University of Tampa, clears. Pereiras will try and track it down here on the near side, but it's driven back into the Lakeland end by Parpiax. Now Rodriguez with it. Gusti Rodriguez, and he runs into traffic, and it's knocked out of play. Heading to the 67th minute, 1-0 Florida. Great to have you on ITV.net tonight. Special hello to the folks down in the Miami area who are staying up late. Well, I guess in Miami it's just early in the evening down there if you're heading to South Beach or someplace fun. But, you know, for we old folks here in Lakeland, it's getting late. But glad to have you along, and those that were at Bryant Stadium tonight and got chased away by the weather but are curious about the goings-on, we're happy to have you on board as well. Villegas trying to create an opportunity but can't really control it. Throw in for Lakeland. Salgado finds Ivo Diaz, and he wanted to give it right back to Salgado, who was not anticipating the return pass and goes out of play. Of course, Miami also with the advantage perhaps of having a little fresher legs overall. They did not play this week. And the Tropics had that road trip and tough game down in Stewart against the South Florida Surf that ended up in the 1-1 tie. So the last couple of days for the Tropics more about rest and recovery than it really was any kind of serious training. But they have looked fairly fresh tonight. It certainly has not been any kind of a big issue, at least to this point. Salgado with it. Lays it down for Pereiras and then cleared out of there by Quafic. Quafic, a big rangy defender as well in the Ramsey Torrey mold. Rodriguez with a steal and a trip, and there's a foul. And we'll see if it's more than just a foul. Everyone gathered around the official here to see what the decision will be, and it apparently is just going to be a talking to, if you will. No card out of the pocket yet. It'll be a free kick for the Tropics from just about 30 yards out, so a dangerous spot here. Torrey will move up. He's certainly one of the targets. Perhaps their best is Villegas had the header at the far post, and Eric Edge with his best save of the game. Eric Edge coming over from the UK to play for FC Miami City this year. The champions are affiliated with Paris Saint-Germain, one of the top teams in the French League, five-time French League champions, and they send a lot of their pipeline talent to South Florida. The PSG Academy is part of the FC Miami program, And so they have literally hundreds of players oftentimes from which to whittle down the roster to their top 18. And that is one of the reasons certainly they have been so very competitive over the last couple of years. PDL runners-up 2 years ago and third in the Southeast Division last year. Winners of a U.S. Open Cup in 2017 as well. So their resume is pretty impressive, no question. And nice to have that affiliation. There are several clubs in the PDL. IMG Academy, obviously. SEMA, which stands for the Soccer Institute of Montverde Academy, one of the premier prep soccer schools in the nation. So there is several of these PDL teams that have very built-in player pipelines, something that the Tropics do not have the advantage of other than the players that came over from the major Arena Soccer League sister franchise Florida Tropics like Diegues and Pereiras and Rojas, but for the most part no real affiliation with any kind of a soccer program or power that makes filling out your roster a little bit easier. So these guys literally, in some cases on the Miami side, have been in training together for months, whereas the Tropics really did not come together as a team much before the week or so before that May 11th game down in Miami. '72nd minute now, so time beginning to become a bit of a factor for the Tropics as they look perhaps maybe now set their sights on seeing if they can salvage a point tonight. Diegues with that tremendous header opportunity that Edge was just Johnny on the spot with. Here's Rodriguez with it. Floats it on the left side to Gage is in there now. And knocked over the end line. Corner kick coming up for the Tropics. So we'll see if they can make something happen here on the corner. This might be their first corner of the night, I believe. Here's the ball into the box and was short. Never got over the end line. Not what the Tropics were looking for, and good scoring opportunity quickly goes by the boards. Rodriguez with the pressure for Lakeland, but Miami will control. Chahadi with it. Taken away quickly by Rodriguez and then taken right back by Chahadi, who will streak down the right side. Feeds it in front now. Across the box, but headed out of there by the Tropics. Jimenez clears it to the sideline and out of danger for the moment. Ball into the box, scoring chance for Kurama, shot, and that hits the goalpost, the football goalpost, well above the goal. But a very good opportunity right in front of Valerio there by Mohamed Kuruma. Has the only goal of the game so far, and had a pretty good look at a second right there. Over the head of Diegues, and Miami will control. At least Valerio able to make those long clearing goal kicks now. Really had trouble in that first half with the storm blowing in and a big wind coming up. He really was kind of one of the plays that was taken away because of the weather before finally play was halted. A couple more substitutions now for Miami.
That's a substitute for FC Miami City, number 17, Chris Davis.
And that is Chris Davis coming into the game, number 17.
For number 19, Hamza Morjan.
foul against Miami. Chugging towards the 76th minute. This is just about when Lakeland had its best scoring chance down in Miami. But they have had their chances tonight, no question, to either get the lead or get the equalizer, and just has not happened. Eric Edge in his third game now in goal for Miami, and he has a clean sheet in his first two and working on his third straight. Diegas will think about a little pressure, but Edge clears quickly. Picked up at the midfield circle by the goal scorer. Now Diegas going to try and track down the loose ball, but Edge gets out there ahead of the Lakeland captain, and that one bounces literally out of the stadium. Ivo Diaz takes the throw in. Tries to keep it alive, and Miami will step up on the intercept and keep possession and counter now for the champions. Jimenez for Lakeland overruns it. Thought about trying to take it away there from Karuma for a moment, but could not. Now Rodriguez with it at the midfield circle. Long ball through to Diegas, but Edge had that one snuffed out rather efficiently and beat Diegas to the ball without too much of a problem. Good idea by the Tropics as Diegas was on sides, but Hovey is tracking down the loose ball being challenged over there by Merzuk, and Lakeland will get the throw in. Diegas steps up to try and keep possession for the Tropics. Looking for Pereira here on the near side, but the champions will control and then give it right back. Diegas with a long ball. Headed out of there. Nice play by Kvapik. Hard to get it over Kvafik's head. He's got to be a good 6'4", 6'5", as we said, in that Ramsey-Torrey range. You know, Ramsey's 6'5", and put them back to back, and it would be a pretty close measurement. 1-0 Miami. 79th minute now. Champions will play a little possession and run a little clock here. Make the Tropics chase a little, certainly. Very hot and humid still. The rain only briefly providing a respite. Steal by Rodriguez. Goes over the sideline of play. And we've got a Miami player down on the field. That is Hervé Bato, and I think he may have a cramp. Wasn't an injury from a challenge or a tackle or anything. He is off. Throw in Miami. Offsides, and Lakeland will get possession back here. They need to put together a little magic here in the final 10 minutes, trailing 1-0. Long ball driven down towards Diegas. Victor Pereira will pick it up here on the left wing to Rodriguez. Rodriguez to Jimenez, and now Pereira looks for space to operate. Pereira, long shot curling towards the far post. Diegas with a run in the box, and Edge got there just in the nick of time. Diegas trying to sneak in back post. Pereira, who has played with him for a number of years, both professionally in the Arena League with the Florida Tropics and collegiately at UT Brownsville. And That was almost like a little basketball alley-oop play. Sneaking in behind the defense was Diegas, and Pereira was able to spot him. Good play by Torrey to thwart the Miami counter. But the champions will get the throw in deep in Lakeland zone here with a little less than 10 minutes now to go in regulation time. We didn't get a whole lot of stoppage time at the end of the first half, and haven't seen a reason to get a whole lot at the end of the second half either. So if Lakeland is going to get one, they have about probably 9 or 10 minutes left to do it. Ivo Diaz with it in his own box. Clears it over for Weichers. Up now to Rodriguez. Rodriguez for Jimenez. Jimenez taken down hard. No whistle. Pereiras with it. Pereiras with some fancy footwork around a couple of defenders. Wanted to get it through to Gage and goes over the end line. Throw in here for the Tropics. They will have to really start pressing the attack and taking some chances. Salgado calls for it on the near sideline. Salgado, good possession. Chips it over to Rodriguez, middle of the field to Ivo Diaz. Tries to get it through to Diegas, can't do it. Here's Jimenez, and good defensive play there by the champions to clear the zone. You can see Lakeland ratcheting up the pressure here. Got all their 11 players over the midfield line at the moment. Trying to create something in front of Eric Edge, who is bidding for his third straight shutout. 3 starts, and it would be 3 clean sheets for the British-born goaltender.
It's a substitution, number 7, Yorandi Suarez. For number 21, Jonathan Barbayers, FC Miami City.
Get out! Get out! Right shoulder touching! Right shoulder!
Subido skill. Yorandi Suarez, número 7, sobre Hervé Valdez.
Somebody cross Puppy! Chris, left shoulder!
Put the ball in play. Apologize for some of the audio and visual difficulties we're having here tonight. We had a big storm hit midway through the first half. And so trying to push through, and we hope you're doing the same. 85th minute now, almost to the 86th, so only about 4+ minutes of regulation time to go. Maybe realistically 1 or 2 good opportunities left in terms of time available for the Tropics. They trail it 1-0. This would be a serious dent in the in third place, just a point, rather 2 points behind Miami, and could have taken sole possession of second, but may not be in the cards. We'll see. Corner kick coming up here for Miami.
Christian, stay back. I'll take off. No move from there. No move. No move.
Let's see if it's on its way. It is. It's going to go to the long post. There's a header, and Valerio doesn't have much trouble handling that one. Tropics will need to counter now quickly. Good drive downfield by Valerio. But Miami will control here. Salgado trying to track it down, and it'll be a throw-in for Lakeland. Good anticipation on the throw-in by Parpiax, and was briefly at least able to get it back into the Lakeland zone. Every second, every touch here becoming critical. Diegas can't get it. Throw-in coming up from Miami from the far side. Hovius will, nope, going to be another throw-in for Miami. Hovius thought perhaps Lakeland was going to get possession. About 2.5 minutes to go here in regulation. Miami very content to keep it down in the Lakeland end of the field, obviously, and can't maintain possession, so the Tropics will try and come up with it. Pereiras can't get it. Knocked over the sideline, and it'll be Lakeland throw in, I believe. Or are they going to say it was deflected? Substitution now for the Tropics. Hasserud.
That's a substitution, number 4, Julian Hall for number 30, Chase Hovius for your Lakeland Tropics.
I'll check that. It's Julian Hall into the game. Chase Hovius out. Comes all the way through to edge as the Tropics were cruising in front of the Miami goal, but Edge was able to get there without any issue. As we have another whistle and a player down now for the Tropics, maybe Ivo Diaz, I think. No, it wasn't Pedro.
Fans, be sure to stick around for the meet and greet after following tonight's game on the field. The players will begin meeting around 5 minutes after the game.
It was actually Weichers who was down briefly.
Also, a final reminder, don't forget to join us after tonight's game.
Into the final minute of regulation time, so if the Tropics are going to find an equalizer, it may come in stoppage time, and we don't anticipate, as we said, a ton of stoppage time. Be a goal kick here for Miami. And Edge will direct a little traffic and drive it into the Lakeland half of the field. Here's a chance for Miami now. Cut back to the middle of the field, shot and a goal, and that will be the clincher. Lakeland trying to press the attack, and short a man actually with Weichers on the sideline coming out with the injury. And Miami FC is going to retain second place in the PDL Southeast Division as they get a goal in the 90th minute to take a 2-0 lead. Disappointing end here for Lakeland. Kind of a disappointing evening all the way around. A nice crowd out here of better than 2,000 for this big showdown game, and most of them chased away by a big thunderstorm that came through late in the first half and delayed this game for well more than an hour. The Tropics came out, as is their usual, with a lot of vim and vigor to start the second half. Ricardo Diegues with a header off the crossbars. There's a long ball into the box, and a shot and a goal. I think it was a goal. I think it went in. Yes, it did. Actually hit the back bar on the bottom of the goal and came right back out. So the Tropics do get one here in stoppage time and make it 2-1. Well, a little life here still for Lakeland. No, I guess it wasn't a goal. I guess it did not go in. Thought it had. It was a weird bounce in front, and thought it actually may have hit either the football goalpost support and came right back out, or the bottom bar on the goal, but apparently did not go in. So it remains a 2-0 score, and the Tropics are not particularly arguing the point too vociferously. So obviously it did not find the back of the net. As we are definitely in stoppage time now, still 2-0 Miami. One last substitute here for the visitors. Carlos Chacon coming in. Where's number 22? And he's quickly taken down by Pedro Ivo Diaz. So that's a heck of a how do you do and welcome to the game. And I think Ivo Diaz may get a card here, and he does. Alexi Cortez going to perhaps check in here for the Tropics for the last couple of minutes. So for Lakeland, a week of rest, and they will host the best team in the Southeast next Saturday night, the unbeaten SEMA Aguilas. Whistle and a foul, and another yellow card, this one against perhaps Diegues, I'm not sure. Didn't really see anything physical that warranted a yellow, but came out of the official's pocket. May have been a verbal yellow, if you will. Certainly Diegues expressing a lot of displeasure out there. Frustrating night for him. He has been close a couple of times to getting his 10th of the season, so he'll see his 7-game goal streak come to an end unless he can find something here in the final minute or so. Pereira's trying to battle and a whistle and a foul, and again a lot of contact as Ivo Diaz drives it up into Miami territory, but it'll bounce out of play. Can't be a whole lot of time left as the referee checks his watch one more time. We're in stoppage time here at Bryant Stadium. Soccer night in Florida on ITV.net. Appreciate you hanging in with us tonight, despite the weather and the technical difficulties that the weather has provided. Challenges for the players and challenges for the broadcasters as well. Weichers tries to battle and get control at the midfield circle. He does. Tries to chip it through, and Edge comes out to stop that challenge. Chahadi with it, sliding tackle by Weichers, and he hurt himself on that one. That was a collision between Chahadi and Weichers, and they both went down, and I think that's the end of the game. Some of the Tropics players and staff not real happy at the ending there, but It certainly won't matter now because time is out and it is over for the Lakeland Tropics. Their 7-game unbeaten skid comes to an end. And their hopes for moving into second place in the Southeast Division also go by the boards with the FC Miami City win 2-0 the final. And that will be a wrap tonight from Bryant Stadium. We look forward to seeing you, hopefully with a little better weather, next Saturday. We'll be on the air right around 7:30 again as the SEMA Aguilas will visit. The two sides still mingling and having a little discussion out at the midfield area, but some of the team officials trying to make sure everyone is separated and that there isn't any further problem. But a couple of people on both sides pretty hot and bothered at the ending there, I guess, or things that may have gone on during the game. Can't really be sure, but certainly one of the Miami players not happy. One of the Tropics assistant coaches pretty unhappy, but I think we've got most of the situation under control, and now the Tropics and champions will offer some handshakes and congratulations, I think, although Miami wants to head to the locker room and make sure perhaps there isn't any more to do, and I think we're going to be okay now as cooler heads have prevailed, and that's certainly good news. Don't want to mar what was a pretty good game. The Tropics certainly had chances. They came out header by Diegas, their usual, with a lot of them and vigor. The shot by Diegas from second half after Diegas with a header. Miami goalkeeper mishandled the shot into the first half. And a shot and a goal. I think it was a goal. I think it went in. Yes, it did. But Miami converts and they win it 2-0. Actually hit the back bar at Bryant Stadium. Don't forget, we'll be on the air on itv.net with our next edition of Soccer Night in Florida next Saturday, July 1st, the holiday weekend. So if you can't make it out to Bryant Stadium, make it to your computer and watch as the Lakeland Tropics host the top team in the Southeast Division. The Southeast led by the SEMA Aguilas. They have not lost this year, and they will be in town here to play the Tropics next Saturday night at 7:30. The final once again here tonight from Bryant Stadium, the FC Miami City Champions 2 and the Lakeland Tropics 0. We hope you have a great evening, everybody.